Here is the truth no one wants to hear. Your life became harder to live because you tried too hard to make it easy. Ease didn't save you, it softened you. Comfort didn't protect you, it erased you. And now the only way back is forward into a harder life. Softness didn't appear suddenly. It arrived the moment you stopped choosing challenge. You lowered your standards, reduced your effort, accepted the smaller version of yourself, and life punished you for it. A man collapses not because he faces too much pressure, but because he faces too little. Pressure is what shapes you. The lack of it is what destroys you. A harder life is not suffering. It is structure. It is clarity. It is the return to the environment your mind was designed to survive in. Hardness does not crush you. Hardness reveals you. It forces you to meet the version of yourself comfort made you forget. When life becomes too easy, you lose your edge. Your instincts dull. Your hunger fades. Your ambition dries up. You begin drifting instead of deciding. But the moment you return to difficulty, even a little, your mind wakes up. Your blood sharpens. The fire that once defined you begins burning again. Men are not built in comfort. Men are built in effort, pressure, resistance, and repetition. You do not rise by escaping the hard life. You rise by returning to it. Every strong version of you is waiting on the other side of discomfort. Every weak version of you is waiting on the other side of comfort. You know this. You've always known this. Your life got worse the moment you chose easier paths. Your life gets better the moment you choose the harder ones. A harder life is not punishment. It is alignment. It brings you back to the truth you tried to run from. The truth that strength and suffering grow from the same soil. Weakness lives in softness. Strength lives in struggle. You already know which path is yours. Now you must take it deliberately. Not later, not someday, but now. If you want to rebuild your life, you must return to the hardness that built you. The next chapter shows you what that return truly looks like. If you want to return to a harder life, you need to understand one thing clearly. Hardness isn't punishment. It's calibration. Your mind doesn't become strong because life becomes easier. It becomes strong because your environment becomes demanding again. Hardness creates pressure. And pressure wakes up every instinct inside you that comfort put to sleep. Your senses sharpen. Your focus returns. Your body remembers what it feels like to be alive with purpose. A harder life teaches you discipline through repetition, through early mornings, through daily friction, through the weight of tasks you do not want to do but choose anyway. That is where identity shifts. Hardness restores urgency. Comfort convinces you that time is abundant. Hardness shows you the truth. Time is slipping. You move faster. Think sharper. Commit deeper because you cannot afford softness anymore. A harder life also rebuilds respect, self-respect. Not the fake confidence given by comfort, but the real confidence earned by doing the difficult thing when no one would blame you for avoiding it. Softness makes you emotional. Hardness makes you stable. When life is hard, your emotions learn their place. Secondary. Action becomes primary. Feelings stop deciding your direction. A harder life gives you clarity. Struggle strips away noise. Friction removes illusions. When you are tested, you see exactly who you are and who you must become. Weakness thrives in soft conditions because softness hides the truth. A harder life exposes it. It shows you the flaws you ignored, the habits that held you back, the lies you believed because they were comfortable. A harder life eliminates excuses. When the environment demands strength, your choices become simple: rise or collapse. And when you rise once, rising again becomes instinct. Hardness rebuilds hunger. You stop drifting and start chasing. You stop dreaming and start deciding. You stop wishing and start acting. Hunger is not found. It is forged. A harder life builds resilience. Every challenge you survive adds another layer to your mind, another layer that cannot be removed once it's earned. Softness cannot replicate this. Only struggle can. A harder life forces evolution. You cannot stay the same and survive difficulty. You must grow. You must adapt. You must upgrade the old version of yourself whether you want to or not. Now that you understand why hardness is necessary, the next chapter shows you what truly happens when a man embraces the harder path willingly, and what transformations begin inside him. Now that you understand why a harder life is necessary, you need to face the truth most people spend their whole lives avoiding. You didn't become soft because life was cruel. You became soft because life was comfortable. Comfort didn't weaken your body, it weakened your instincts. A man becomes soft the moment he stops facing resistance. When nothing tests you, you forget how to fight. When everything is easy, you forget how to endure. Softness begins when effort becomes optional, when you can delay without consequence, when you can quit without punishment, when you can escape responsibility just because it feels heavy. The modern world made everything easier, but easier doesn't mean better. Easier means you are no longer required to sharpen anything inside yourself. Ease is the environment where strength dies quietly. Softness grows in small habits. The skipped morning, the avoided task, the delayed decision, the comfort you choose because it is familiar. The body follows the mind, and the mind follows the path of least resistance. You became soft because you stopped living like someone who needed to survive. Hardship built every strong man before you. Comfort erased the urgency that once shaped your identity. Softness also comes from overstimulation. Your mind is so addicted to instant pleasure that real effort feels unbearable. Comfort floods you with quick rewards that require nothing from you, and your brain adapts to the cheap path. Then comes emotional sensitivity. When you avoid discomfort, every minor difficulty becomes a major threat. You panic under small pressure because you haven't carried heavy pressure in too long. Softness grows from a lack of responsibility. When no one demands more from you, you demand less from yourself. And slowly, without noticing, your standards collapse. But the deepest root of softness is identity erosion. You stopped seeing yourself as someone who can endure the hard path. You started believing the lie that comfort is safer and effort is dangerous. Your old identity, the harder one, didn't disappear. It starved. It withered under neglect. It waited for you to return to the environment that once kept you sharp. Softness isn't who you are. It's who you became because you forgot who you were. The truth is simple and brutal. You only grow in the direction you work toward. If you work toward ease, you become fragile. If you work toward struggle, you become unbreakable. Now that you understand why softness took over your life, the next chapter shows you how to rebuild the instincts comfort erased and restore the version of you that was meant to endure. If you want to return to a harder life, you need more than intensity. You need a system. Strength built on emotion collapses. Strength built on structure endures. There are 3 phases, 3 pillars, 3 disciplines that rebuild the mind. Comfort destroyed. Phase 1 is voluntary friction. The moment you choose discomfort on purpose, your brain begins to rewire cold mornings. Hard training, stillness without screens. These small frictions become the foundation that every strong identity stands on. Phase 2 is structured difficulty. Random effort does not build consistency. You must create predictable challenge. A routine that forces you to rise, not react. Wake, train, work, reflect. Done in the same order until your identity catches up. Phase 3 is identity reinforcement. A hard life is not just something you do, it is someone you become. You stop negotiating, stop waiting, stop softening yourself for the sake of comfort. You act because it is who you are now. Voluntary friction sharpens you. Structured difficulty stabilizes you. Identity reinforcement transforms you. Together, they remove the softness you carried for years. This framework works because it forces your instincts to evolve. The mind adapts to whatever environment you live in. Soft conditions create soft instincts. Hard conditions rebuild warrior instincts. A harder life teaches your mind to stop running from effort, to stop fearing friction, to stop expecting ease. Your body follows your new identity the way metal follows a magnet. This system destroys excuses. Once routine becomes ritual, you no longer argue with yourself. You execute. You show up. You rise, even on days your emotions rebel. The framework also kills inconsistency. Softness lives in lapses. The missed day, the delayed task, the small negotiation. A hard life removes the gaps where weakness once hid. Phase 1 builds tolerance. Phase 2 builds discipline. Phase 3 builds identity. This is the order. Skip the order, and softness returns immediately. The hardest part is the beginning, because that is where you break the cycle. But once momentum forms, you feel your instincts shifting. What used to scare you begins to energize you. This system does not make life easier, it makes you stronger. And when you become stronger, life stops feeling impossible and starts feeling conquerable. Now that you know the framework, the next chapter shows you how to apply it in real time, with actions that reshape the identity you lost to softness. Understanding the framework is powerful, but seeing how it transforms you in real life is where everything becomes undeniable. A harder life changes you because it forces you to confront habits that made you soft. It exposes you. It challenges you. It reshapes you from the inside out. Look at the man who wakes early each day. He doesn't become disciplined because the morning is magical. He becomes disciplined because the morning leaves no space for negotiation. Hardness replaces hesitation. Look at the man who trains consistently. He doesn't grow because the workout is special. He grows because the difficulty teaches him to endure discomfort without emotional collapse. This is the foundation of resilience. Look at the man who works with intensity. He doesn't rise because his tasks are easy. He rises because he attacks them even when tired, even when distracted, even when his feelings demand escape. Hardness teaches stability. Look at the man who keeps his promises to himself. He doesn't gain confidence from success. He gains confidence from consistency. From showing up when no one applauds. From doing what he said he would do, even when nothing inside him wants to move. A harder life rebuilds your identity because it makes you the kind of man who does difficult things on purpose. Not for praise, not for validation, but because it is who you decide to be. You stop seeing discomfort as threat. You start seeing it as signal. A sign and you are on the right path. A sign the weaker version of you is being burned away. Hardness also kills anxiety. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become capable. You don't fear challenges you've already faced voluntarily. You don't panic at weight you've carried before. Hardness teaches emotional control. A harder life rebuilds hunger. Comfort makes ambition fade like a dull flame, but hardship adds oxygen. Every time you push yourself, your fire grows brighter. Hunger is not born, it's forged. Hardness also redefines failure. Softness makes failure feel fatal. Hardness makes failure feel educational. You stop avoiding mistakes. You analyze them. You stop retreating. You adjust. A harder life sharpens your clarity. When your day is filled with effort, you no longer waste attention. You cut distractions. You eliminate softness. Your priorities become obvious because only the essential survive struggle. The deeper truth is this: you will not recognize who you become once you embrace a harder path. Your decisions change. Your discipline strengthens. Your identity upgrades. The old version of you begins to feel like a stranger. Now that you understand exactly how a harder life transforms you, the next chapter shows you how to apply these transformations every single day until softness dies for good. A harder life isn't something you talk about. It's something you practice. Daily, quietly, when no one is watching and no one will praise you. Here is how you begin living the hard life in the real world. First, create a morning boundary. Comfort attacks you the moment you wake. Beat it instantly. Stand up without negotiation. Move before your mind begins to bargain. The first decision of the day sets the standard for every decision. After second, schedule difficulty. Hard tasks don't happen by accident. If you don't plan them, you will avoid them. Give your day structure. Training, reading, silence, work, anchored into time blocks you cannot escape from. Third, prioritize friction over convenience. When you have two choices, choose the one that feels heavier. Take the stairs. Walk instead of scroll. Finish the thing you want to avoid. Friction builds instincts that softness once erased. Fourth, enforce discipline in micro moments. The small choices matter more than the big ones. Those tiny moments when you want to stop, to delay, to escape. That is where a harder life is built. Fifth, kill emotional negotiation. Your feelings are not your leaders. They are passengers. Act based on the identity you're building, not the mood you're in. Softness obeys emotion. Hardness obeys intention. Sixth, remove comfort triggers from your environment. Rearrange your space to force better instincts. Put the phone out of reach. Keep your tools ready. Make your environment harder so your decisions become easier. Seventh, end tasks with force, not with excuses. Most men quit near the finish line because comfort whispers, "You've done enough." But enough is the language of weakness. Completion is the language of discipline. Eighth, embrace voluntary suffering daily. A short cold exposure, a difficult run, a strict routine. These controlled hardships teach your mind that discomfort is survivable and eventually energizing. Ninth, remove your escape routes. Weak men build backup plans. Strong men build commitment. Delete the plan B. Decide who you are, then behave like him even when it hurts. 10th, track your behaviors honestly. Hardness grows in awareness. Softness grows in denial. Write down your wins, your failures, your lies, your avoidance. What you measure, you control. 11th, train your mind through silence. No music, no noise, just breath, thought, and presence. Silence is where your instincts sharpen and your emotional chaos dissolves. Live this way long enough and something powerful happens. You stop chasing the hard life, and the hard life becomes the only life that feels right. That shift leads you directly into the final chapter. Now that you know what the hard life demands, there is one final truth you must accept. The transformation doesn't happen in noise. It happens in silence. Strength grows quietly. Discipline grows privately. Identity changes when no one is around to witness it. The old version of you lived in comfort. He needed ease. He needed softness. He needed escape. But that version of you is fading. You can feel it. Every hard choice has been burying him. A harder life forces you to confront yourself with no shield, no distraction, no comfort to hide behind. And in that confrontation you discover a truth. Comfort tried to erase. You were always meant to endure. Silence shows you your real strength, not the kind you show the world, but the kind that carries you through mornings you don't want, tasks you avoid, and pain you'd rather escape. In silence, you see how far you've come, how many times you faced resistance, how many temptations you fought off, how many moments you refused to quit even when no one would have blamed you. A harder life doesn't make you emotionless. It makes you stable. It doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. Comfort confuses the mind. Hardness reveals it. You begin trusting yourself again. Not because you feel strong, but because you proved strength through action. Confidence becomes quiet, not loud, not bragging. A quiet certainty that you can endure whatever stands in front of you. The hard life becomes your compass. Not because life gets easier, but because your standards rise, your threshold rises, your capacity rises. The tasks that once broke you become the tasks that sharpen you. You stop needing permission to become who you want to be. You stop waiting for support. You stop asking for the easy path. You realize the truth. No one is coming to save you, and no one needs to. A harder life gives you something comfort never can. Self-respect. The kind that comes from doing the right thing even when no one sees, no one praises, no one acknowledges the battles you fought. Your future depends on this version of you. Not the comfortable one, not the hesitant one, not the negotiator, but the man who shows up because he refuses to betray himself again. The world will not grow softer for you, so you must grow stronger for the world. And you already have. Every hard step, every painful repetition, every quiet morning. You built something most men never touch, a mind that does not fold. Walk forward into the life that forged you. The harder path is the right one. And the man you are becoming is worth every ounce of resistance ahead. Rise, and do not return to softness.